Tyranitar. Now, the team you can't see on screen is Ben's, of course, and he's bringing the Manectric, Gyarados, Florges, Ferrothorn, Garchomp, and Moltres.
Yeah, a lot of these Pokemon aren't really well known. Coming from my Florges, I'm actually really interested to see what it can do. It has two possible abilities in Flower Veil and Symbiosis. Flower Veil not really going to help Manectric too much, and Symbiosis not really going to be able to give away its item to Manectric, most likely holding that Mega Stone.
All right, I see the withdrawal there for Michael and Gyarados, switching into the Ferrothorn there, maybe expecting some sort of electric type attack. And Florges also switching out, by the way, that white Florges, one of the rare types of that one of the rare versions. Okay, a double Ferrothorn switch. Both staring each other down there. And the Manectric is going Mega, which means we're going to see that Intimidate ability fire up there. And maybe might do something to that Ferrothorn, depending on what its move types are. There we go. The attack falls for both of those Pokemon. And the Protect. Nice Protect Manectric getting set up there. And Nidoqueen going Earth Power protects itself, so nothing really on that turn.
Yeah, Nidoqueen with that same type attack boost Earth Power going to do a massive amount of damage. And Nidoqueen actually gets Flamethrower, which is actually going to be able to do a good amount of damage to that Ferrothorn right now. Nidoqueen in a really good position to pick up an easy knockout if it really needed to. Right now, I mean, good switch right there from Ben, kind of thinking that Florges would be targeted with possibly a poison type attack from Nidoqueen, so going to go into the immune Ferrothorn and really paid off, right? Well, it didn't really pay off. Switch, we can see why he did that switch.
Agree with you there. It looks like we do see the switch into Florges again there, and a Protect from Ferrothorn. Nidoqueen going Earth Power again into the Florges slot there. It doesn't do too much damage. Florges really being able to handle that. And the Power Whip, nice. Going to do a lot of damage here to Nidoqueen. Takes it down to about 50%.
Yeah, and good switch right there. Saw that Manectric was threatened. Good move right there. Really safe play from Michael right there. Did not want to possibly take an Overheat from that Manectric. Manectric really well known to carry Overheat. Could also carry Flamethrower. So wanting to protect his own Ferrothorn, that might actually come in handy later. And that Power Whip didn't do too much damage. And really, Nidoqueen is still in pretty good position right now and applying a lot of pressure to Ben's side. I mean, again, that poison type attack or that...
We actually do end up seeing the switch here. Gyarados coming back in now for Michael, and the Intimidate gets fired off, lowering that Power Whip, of course.
And we see the Flower Veil actually pay off right there.
Oh, there it goes. There it would have been. He would have, of course, lowered it, but the Flower Veil paid off, protecting that Ferrothorn from that Intimidate. There we go. Manectric switching back in now. Double Intimidate onto that Ferrothorn slot, and one Intimidate off onto Gyarados there. And the Gyro Ball comes out. Going to do some decent damage to that very speedy Manectric. Oh, actually, sorry, the resisting there. It resisted it big time. And the Leech Seed, nice, going to get a little bit of life back.
And we see exactly how great of a switch that was. I mean, Ben's Manectric came in after that Gyarados came in, so he was able to fire off that Intimidate onto there, and before that, Florges could switch out, that Gyarados came in to fire off that Intimidate, so
yes.
Really the order of events happening right now just going in Ben's favor. Of course, they're both playing really defensively right now. I mean, both of these players are trying to figure out what exactly each other's strategies are after looking at these ridiculous teams, in my opinion. But, I mean, they're here right now, so that means that they actually know how to use these Pokemon very well, and I would not, you know, I would play safe too.
Well, I mean, we see what's happening right here with the meta. It has become a very switch-heavy game. We see the MVP fan Rotom. They're loving it. Protect there on Ferrothorn. And the Overheat from Manectric. Nice into the Protect. Great call there. Power Whip. And doubles up actually into that slot.
Yeah, interesting decision right there to double up, and Michael really gets Fan Rotom in for free. I'm actually really interested to see what Fan Rotom can do with the typing. It's Electric Flying and able to get Air Slash, but I just don't know what it can do to these two leads, to Ben's Pokemon right now. But that Ferrothorn right now just sitting pretty on Michael's side. Probably want to get out. Saw that Overheat targeting it, so definitely does not want to stay in, most likely.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It looks like we do see the switch back into Florges, so I think we've seen a switch on every single turn of this match. And there we go, Volt Switch as well into the Fan Rotom, and that goes back to, can we get a Pokemon on the field? At least, hey, Ferrothorn's hanging out there, Protect a couple times, and it's chilling. All right, it does look like we see the switch again into Ferrothorn, so both players just really valuing that, and we see the Will-O-Wisp go down into the Florges slot, going to get that burn.
Yeah.
And there it goes, finishing it off with a Power Whip into the Ferrothorn, but oh my gosh, he ate it up. It takes a little bit of damage from the Iron Box. Actually, that Power Whip.
Yeah, and Iron Barb's Rocky Helmet, a really popular combination on Ferrothorn throughout the entire season. A lot of physical attacks in this metagame that actually makes contact, and that actually pays off because that's going to, I mean, you saw how much damage that from Michael's Ferrothorn did to Ben's Ferrothorn in comparison to how much that Ferrothorn took in recoil. So yeah, one of the more popular things this season, and good move right there from Michael to not target down that Ferrothorn slot into the switch because Flower Veil, that's right.
And this berry is going to give it 1/4 of its health back into the green even. And setting up a Leech Seed there, so knowing that it's shut down, you might as well just go with those moves that don't do physical damage. All right, and finishing it off with a Power Whip of its own into Fan Rotom. So Fan Rotom hanging on in the yellow.
Yeah, and we see that Michael's actually using a Leech Seed variant of Ferrothorn as the Florges is actually going to consume its Citrus Berry, going to heal back 25%. And Ferrothorn is actually a pretty decently bulky Pokemon, most likely trained in defenses since he wants to stay on the field as long as possible. And we just see exactly how disrupting that Florges can be. I mean, Fan Rotom coming in wanting to try to burn something, but Ferrothorn just staying strong, and that Flower Veil protecting it from getting burned. So really interesting information for Michael to gather. And both these players are still playing really defensively. I mean, we've been playing for about 7 minutes now. Nobody's actually taken a Pokemon, and it's just been...
Finally see the Ferrothorn gets the switch into the Nidoqueen here. Rotom protecting. The Moonblast from Florges right into that protecting Rotom, and the Power Up doubles up into the Rotom slot, just trying to finish it off, but is unable to do so with the Protect.
Yeah, and a lot of chip damage coming from this turn from the Leech Seed and the Burn, so Florges is actually going to be brought down all the way to the yellow, and the good thing about that is that Nidoqueen is going to be able to heal back a little bit of health, and Nidoqueen again in a position to do a good amount of damage to either of these Pokemon. Again, it all really depends on what this Nidoqueen and what Michael considers the biggest threat. Of course, Ferrothorn right now going to be able to do a good amount of walling on Ben's side against that Fan Rotom, especially since Fan Rotom cannot burn that Ferrothorn because Florges is still out on the field. So really, right now, Michael has to pick who's the bigger threat right now.
Exactly, Dewey. It's huge assessing the threats there. We see the Protect from Florges. There goes the Flamethrower into that Ferrothorn. That's going to do a decent amount of damage. He picks up the Feint. Finally, we see a Pokemon go down. And there we go, the Thunderbolt into the Protect of the Florges, and a little bit of health goes back to Nidoqueen. I love that, setting up the Leech Seed and giving a lot of life back to that Nidoqueen.
Right, and that's actually a pretty big knockout right there. Nidoqueen picking up the first knockout, Michael taking the 4-3 advantage, and Florges on its last leg probably will get knocked out next turn unless he decides to switch.
Yeah, you're going to see an Intimidate there, of course. And not really going to do too much there. And both opponents just staring each other down, trying to think of their moves.
Right, and now if Nidoqueen can actually fire off an attack onto Florges or Manectric, can threaten it with the same type attack boosted attacks and Earth Power, any poison attack, but it really depends on what set. Again, I mean, this Nidoqueen is pretty versatile in its move pool. Fan Rotom right now just still sitting pretty. I mean, I want to see what it can do.
Yeah, I know. It's protected. It's protecting. We did see a Thunderbolt, I believe, there, but here we go with the switch back into Ferrothorn. That bulky set, we're guessing here. And Garchomp actually making its first appearance there. And Rotom protecting again. No damage for Rotom here. And Manectric Volt switching actually gets it off, but into the Ferrothorn. Doesn't really do too much damage, able to resist that. And Manectric goes back to Ben.
Yeah, interesting decision right there to Volt switch into that slot. I believe that was a Nidoqueen slot, and then the switch in.
Yeah, no, that was really, really risky. Maybe just wanted to get that Pokemon out of there, hoping. Oh, but actually switches into Florges, so taking the burn damage, and unfortunately feints his own Pokemon there, but maybe had something in mind for that.
Yeah, interesting move right there from Ben, and Manectric going to come back out, fire off and Intimidate.
Yeah, there goes. I mean, he does get the Intimidate off, but unfortunately does lose the Florges. Though, didn't even get a move out of it. Right,
and right now that Manectric, of course, going to be able to threaten that Ferrothorn, and Garchomp going to be able to threaten that Rotom, so Ben could easily come back and make this into a 2-2, even it out, really, if he wanted to. Michael probably going to try to figure out a way to get out of this and preserve some of his Pokemon, although both these Pokemon are not really too important right now.
All right, we do see the hidden power here into that Fan Rotom. He's going to pick up the Feint there with a critical hit. Oh, crit totally mattered. Crit totally mattered in the red. All right, and we get the Rock Slide from Garchomp. Maybe we'll see a little flinch down here. Not very effective. Ferrothorn flinched and it can't move. There it is. Flinches 100% of the time, every time. That's at least how I feel when I play against Rock Slide. All right, and the Nidoqueen coming back.
Yeah, an interesting decision right there. Rock Slide probably would have knocked out Fan Roam too, but probably Ben not really want to race that Rock Slide miss. And of course, Manectric not really want to firing off that overheat just yet. Wants to keep preserve its special attack. Doesn't want to get a special attack drop.
Exactly. We do actually end up seeing the Protect here from Manectric. Nidoqueen Earth Power. Manectric protects itself. Garchomp going with the Earthquake. Here it is. This could do a lot of damage to Frothorn. Oh my gosh, and picking up the Feint on Nidoqueen. A critical hit. Oh my gosh. Huge damage there. Huge damage.
That is a great read from Ben. Huge read from Ben. Predicting that Manectric was probably going to be targeted and protecting itself and firing off that Earthquake from Garchomp. It's just so much prediction right there, and definitely pays off for Ben as he takes the 2-to-1 advantage.
Yeah, that was major. I mean, getting that first...
Getting that 2-2 advantage.
Yes, with the Gyarados in the back there. We do see the Intimidate, which is going to affect Garchomp here, who won't be able to get that back, unfortunately, but not really going to do anything to Manectric. But that was huge because it was really in Michael's favor after getting that first feint.
Right, and right now Gyarados coming in, going to be threatened by that Manectric, and Ferrothorn right now pretty weak right now and heavily damaged, so going to be easy to pick up the knockout really if you want to. And we have actually not seen Michael's Mega yet, and it is this Gyarados most likely if he did decide to bring a Mega this game. So tough decision right now.
There it is. We do see the Gyarados going Mega there. First one of the day. There it is. And setting up the Mold Breaker, of course. Manectric Volt switching again into the Gyarados slot. Going to do a decent amount of damage there. Takes it into the yellow. Rock Slide from Garchomp. Gyarados avoids the attack. Sorry about that. And into the Frothorn, who's going to definitely hold on. Gyarados hitting back with an Earthquake. Oh, it's going to do some damage to its own Frothorn. Super effective on Manectric. It feints. He gets rid of the Mega here. That was big. And the Power Whip into the Garchomp slot. Oh, hanging on with 59 hit points, but the rough skin. Got to finish off the Frothorn. There it is.
Yeah, that is big that rough skin knocked out that Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn could have probably sat pretty and just enjoyed the Leech Seed coming back, but right now this Garchomp going to outspeed this Gyarados and be able to easily pick up the knockout.
I believe that Dragon Claw should be enough to do it with the same type of attack bonus there. No, he's bulky. The Ice Fang hits back. There it is. He picks up the feint. Oh my gosh. But the rough skin isn't enough. No, he hangs on in the red. Somebody give me the hit points on that Gyarados. Get me the hit points on that Gyarados.
And that Intimidate definitely paying off from that Gyarados coming in. So really close match right there. Michael must feel so great right now being able to take a game off two-time UK national champion Ben Kyriakou. So impressive set right there, or impressive game right there from both players, and it was back and forth. You know, they were just trying to feel for each other, and even when Ben looked like he had as much momentum as he possibly could, you know, Michael still hung in there, and he was able to barely edge it out. So congrats to Michael for taking that game, but you know, he has to go back right now for game 2, so gonna be exciting to see what he decides to bring both players right now to the drawing board. Back to team preview.
I mean, absolutely crazy at the end there. Ben is actually going to switch it up, guys. Again, to remind you, let's talk about these two players. This is huge. Like we said, Michael is the second place at Nationals in Australia. So this is huge. This is a big match for both of these guys. Michael being one of the few players actually from Australia to even be here.
And they're still relatively new, and the United Kingdom, they've been around since the entire circuit started. So really, I mean, again, established metagame versus a relatively new metagame, and we can see that, you know, a lot of interesting decisions coming from the newer metagame.
Yeah, I'm loving these Pokemon. We actually do see the lead with the Fan Rotom here and the Nidoqueen from Michael, and Ben on the bottom there. Two-time UK national champion, bringing Manectric and Florges. All right, Manectric going Mega. Gonna fire off a couple Intimidates here. There it is. Will Intimidate play a huge role again in this matchup? I guess we'll find out. Are we going to see a lot of switching again, too, is the question.
Most likely. I mean, it was all about finding position, so really both players are going to try to do that as well.
All right, looks like a big Sludge Bomb into that Fairy type there. Florges procs the Citrus Berry, though, and Florges is going to get a fourth of its health back, going way up into the green there, so not in too bad of a position. And the Psychic onto the Nidoqueen. does a ton of damage there on that poison typing.
Yeah, Florges really bulky, as we can see there. Survived a Sludge Bomb from Nidoqueen, and Florges really did a good amount back to Nidoqueen, and actually puts it in range for Manectric to possibly pick up the knockout, or even if Florges wanted to, he could probably pick up the knockout as well, although Manectric probably does not want to stay and eat a Earth Power or anything.
Yeah.
So Manectric might want to either pick up that knockout or possibly switch out, or in any way kind of get that position going for Ben, really, as that Nidoqueen is just still there. I mean, it's so powerful. Like, we see its versatile move pool, and it can just do so much damage to any Pokemon on all of Ben's team, really.
All right, looks like we get our first appearance of Tyranitar, though, this time, switching out the Fan Rotom and bringing up the Sandstorm with the Sandstorm ability. And there goes Florges as well, switching for Ben into Ferrothorn, who won't be taking any damage from Sandstorms here. The hidden power, though, will it be able to finish off that Nidoqueen? There it is, picks it up, Nidoqueen out.
And the random Pokemon, the most obscure Pokemon in my opinion, besides Fan Rotom, of course, gets knocked out after doing a good amount of damage to Florges. And really that versatile move pool, again, of Nidoqueen, so important, already gone, not an option anymore for Michael.
Yeah, I think that would have been really, really useful against that Florges in the future here, who has a lot of hit points still left. Now we do see the Fan Rotom come back onto the field.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really interesting about Fan Rotom is that it's an electric flying type. You know, we have a lot of electric flying types already in the game. I mean, Zapdos is probably the more popular one, and it's not like Fan Rotom actually gets an ability that actually makes it different from Zapdos, because it gets Levitate, and it's already flying, so... Yeah, interesting choice, but
you never have enough coverage.
I respect it. I respect it.
All right, it looks like the switch back into Florges here. And Manectric Volt switching as well, so we're going to see a double switch this turn. Into that Tyranitar slot is the Volt switch there, and it's going to go back to Ben. Who's Ben going to choose here? Now that he gets to look at his opponent's team, he gets a little time to choose, what he wants to bring out.
Right, definitely.
Oh, looks like he already knew. I want the Ferrothorn in, and I want it now. All right, and the Air Slash from Fan Rotom into the Ferrothorn. Doesn't do too much damage, but a decent amount there. And a Fire Blast, though, from Tyranitar. Special Tyranitar into the Florges, who eats it up. Eats it up, and the Sandstorm doing a little bit of damage.
Barely any damage done, although right now Ben is probably really just happy that he did not see that Fire Blast land into the Ferrothorn switch.
Sweating bullets right now.
Right, and that definitely, I mean, that would have been really unfortunate if Ben did decide to switch there, but now Ben actually has to be careful because Michael has actually revealed that his Tyranitar has a Fire-type attack that can easily knock out that Ferrothorn. Fan Rotom, of course, doing a little bit of damage with that Air Slash.
It looks like we actually do see the withdraw on Tyranitar there, maybe afraid of a potential Moonblast or something. Gyarados firing off an Intimidate onto both of these Pokemon. It's definitely going to affect, it could potentially affect that Ferrothorn in the future here. We'll see, but no, the switch actually happens. There it goes, and Manectric is back to give its own Intimidate off into that slot. This is crazy. The Intimidates are real right now.
Right, and we saw exactly how great of a play Intimidate was last game.
All right, looks like the burn again onto Florges. Interesting. Into that slot, maybe expecting the switch there, but we do see the Moonblast into Gyarados, doing about 50% hit points, but does get the special attack lower. Unfortunately, not going to really matter on Gyarados there.
Yeah, Gyarados is really more well known for its physical attacking stats, so not going to be too big of a deal there, as a lot of the Pokemon are actually taking a lot of chip damage from the sand, and Florges taking the chip damage from the burn. That's going to add up over time. Again, we see that the switch into Manectric actually was able to pay off for Ben's side, because that Intimidate fired off onto the Gyarados instead of, he got that Intimidate off, which is always big, as we saw last game with that Garchomp being intimidated, really just hurting Ben's chances.
Yeah. And of course, that Florges being out has been protecting his team the entire time from any burns, any Intimidates, and anything that Ferrothorn's been really able to take that. So we do see another Volt Switch again after the Gyarados going Mega there for Michael. Oh my gosh, it almost picks up the Feint. It's hanging on. That Gyarados won't go away. And we do see the switch there for Ben.
Right, and right now, I mean, that Sandstorm's probably not going to knock it out at the end of the turn anyways.
It does look like he's going to pick it up there. The Earthquake happens, though. Gonna not affect the Fan Rotom, but definitely going to affect the Florges there. The bulk is real, 27 hit points, and doesn't really do much to Garchomp there. And finishing it off with an attack down almost to 50%, but the light screen goes up, I believe.
And Light Screen's actually a really good move in my opinion, as Gyarados gets knocked out by the sand. Light Screen, of course, going to boost your team's special defenses a little bit to prevent any damage that Fan Rotom's probably going to dish out at it. So good turn to set up right there from Ben, and one of the reasons why I believe.
Nice, and picking up the feint, though, by the way, on Florges off of that chip damage. Like you said, it paid off.
Just adds up every once in a while. But I think one of the reasons why Michael's actually decided to use Fan Rotom over other Rotom forms is because Mold Breaker Gyarados. You know, you cannot Earthquake into Levitators because that would be super effective, and that's not really good. Now the question is why Fan Rotom over, say, Zapdos?
Yes. Yes, of course. All right, so we see a Ferrothorn coming in here for Ben, and Michael switches into Tyranitar.
Yeah, and right now that 3-2 lead, Ben having that advantage, really good position right now. Garchomp can easily pick up or do a good amount of damage to that Tyranitar if it really chose to.
Yeah, it actually ends up protecting here, so we won't be seeing any damage on that Tyranitar this turn. Ferrothorn protects as well, maybe predicting that, trying to save that Fire Blast for the crucial moment. Earthquake doesn't affect Rotom, so no damage taken on that turn. Rotom going to fire up a Will-O-Wisp into Garchomp, going to really lower that damage that could threaten. Oh, the Lumberry! The Lumberry! Oh my gosh, the Earthquake is still going to be super powerful against Tyranitar there.
Right, and really good read right there from Michael. It's just unfortunate that Ben's actually carrying that Lumberry. Michael saw it. Michael saw that Ferrothorn is probably going to protect, even if Garchomp's Earthquake could not knock out that Tyranitar. You know, Ferrothorn would still be safe, but you know, he thought that would be a great time to Will-O-Wisp, but really it just did not work out because of that Lumberry.
Yeah, how unfortunate. We do see the Will-O-Wisp again, though, now fired off into that Garchomp slot, who Dragon Clawed Tyranitar earlier. Didn't do too much, and we see the Fire Blast. It looks like it's going to connect. It's got to go into Ferrothorn. There it is. No, the bulk is real. 36 hit points from a Fire Blast. Are you kidding me? Hitting back with Gyro Ball on Tyranitar. Picks up the Fade. This is huge. This is so huge. Can you believe that? MVP for Hawthorne.
Fan Rotom versus Garchomp, Ferrothorn, and one more in the back for Ben with a Manectric, I believe. So really, Fan Rotom right now, I don't know if it can take on 3 Pokemon, but you know, anything can happen. Anything
can do it, little guy.
Yeah, Ferrothorn being able to survive that is huge. Most likely trained in special defense, or that Tyranitar was not trained in special attack. So, really unfortunate right there from Michael. I thought he had it, but
that 4 times effectiveness, man.
Right.
I really thought it would be good. They're still talking about it. Everyone's still going crazy. That was epic. The Leech Seed from Ferrothorn into the Protect of the Fan Rotom here. Garchomp taking a little damage from the burn.
Yeah, right now, Fan Rotom just trying to stall out, see if he can survive this, whatever Garchomp really wants to throw at it. And at the same time, this Ferrothorn right now trying to set up a Leech Seed, probably the best move in my opinion to set up for a Pokemon to come in and just keep healing back.
All right, looks like the Rock Slide goes. Rotom air slashing back. Not quite enough. Oh, the flinch on Ferrothorn! Garchomp taking some more burn damage.
And we see the light screen pay off so well for Ben because Ferrothorn still survives that turn. But right now, Garchomp and Ferrothorn both in the red. Fan Rotom can easily protect this turn and possibly pick up some more chip damage on that Garchomp. So, I mean, Michael might still be in this. It all really depends on what it can do against whatever Ben has left in bag.
All right, we do see the Protect on Fan Rotom. The Rock Slide from Garchomp, of course, not going to do any damage there. And a Leech Seed, which also doesn't hit through that Protect there. Garchomp hanging on with 1 hit point! 1 hit point for Garchomp there. Oh my gosh. Is it time to double Protect, Dwee? Is that the call? I mean, what do you do?
Well, even if Fan Rotom survives this, he's able to get it one-on-one.
Yes, the bulk is real on Fan Rotom. Props to Citrus Berry. The Citrus Berry going back into the green. Ben did not want to see that. Ben did not want to see that. The Air Slash finishing off the Ferrothorn, and the burn is definitely going to finish off Garchomp here. This is huge.
One-on-one, Fan Rotom bringing it back.
New meta, baby. New meta, Fan Rotom.
We hear the crowd go crazy for this right now. Fan Rotom.
And the Manectric, it's the face-off. The 2 electric types staring each other down. The Intimidate into the Fan Rotom.
I'm not exactly sure if Fan Rotom has any way to deal with this Manectric, but it's still exciting to see Fan Rotom be able to survive both Garchomp and Ferrothorn there.
No, that was too great. The hold for Fan Rotom doing a lot of damage there, unfortunately, into the red. Rotom air slashing back into the Manectric slot, taking it down to 95 hit points there. And looks like it might be fainting on this turn here. That was huge.
Right. And
there goes the hidden power. Oh my gosh. Who didn't? Oh man. Who didn't want to see that Fan Rotom take that?
I mean, you gotta give it to Fan Rotom. I mean, it hung in there. A lot of players probably would have just forfeit, but you know, Michael stayed in there. You know, Fan Rotom, you know, get the crowd going and stuff like that. So back to the drawing boards for both players, and we see that, you know, even if Michael is down in Pokemon count, it doesn't necessarily mean he's out. He's always willing to fight back. We saw him try to fight back, and I really just respect that.
Yeah.
You know?
That was a huge hold. Oh, man, that was too crazy. Anyway, guys, by the way, that means if we're 1-1 right now in a 2 out of 3, this is it. This is to find out who ends up going 2-2 and who ends up going 3-1,
right? And keeping the dream alive of top cut, as we see right now in team preview. One of the things that Michael really needs to do, he needs to find the queen who probably will not enjoy taking those ice-type hidden powers or even the overheat from Manectric, but at the same time, that is probably his best option to knock out Manectric, who actually proves such a big problem for Michael, really, because Gyarados doesn't enjoy facing off against it. Ferrothorn doesn't enjoy facing off against it. Fanrotom definitely doesn't enjoy facing off against it.
The fans are loving the Lapras, Dwee. How does Lapras like it? Probably also doesn't really like it that much, but still.
Lapras is actually a pretty bulky Pokemon.
That's true.
It can face off against Manectric. At US Nationals, John Hu was running an Assault Vest version, and that was really bulky. It did not take too much damage at all. So
Assault Vest all day, baby.
Right. Lapras is actually making a comeback.
All right. We do see the Mega from Manectric here. Firing off an Intimidate onto Ferrothorn and onto that Lapras. Lapras protecting, though, actually. Not wanting to take any damage this turn. And Ferrothorn protecting as well, so it looks like maybe just get a little scout off. That particular move, the Fire Blast went in, and it held on with so much.
Right.
It was like, it did like 40 damage or something. It was crazy.
Right, definitely. And I mean, props to both players. They both played an amazing set. Probably one of the more exciting sets that I've seen. Although, I mean, we are here at the World Championships. Yeah. All these sets are probably amazing to watch. So, yeah. I mean, props to both players. And one thing I want to say, Michael, Nidoqueen. Yes, I approve. I approve of that. Fanrotom, I approve. Lapras, I approve. I mean, you know, Australia's new. He can face off against Manectric. At US Nationals, John Hu was running an Assault Vest version, and that was really bulky. It did not take too much damage at all. So
Assault Vest all day, baby.
Right. Lapras is actually making a comeback.
All right. We do see the Mega from Manectric here. Firing off an Intimidate onto Ferrothorn and onto that Lapras. Lapras protecting, though, actually. Not wanting to take any damage this turn. And Ferrothorn protecting as well, so it looks like maybe just get a little scout off, see what's going on here. And the overheat from Manectric into the Ferrothorn slot, and the light screen does get set up, so nice call there from Ben.
Yeah, and we saw last game the light screen actually paid off very well.
Huge.
It allowed Ferrothorn to survive. So that's huge, and that's going to be 5 turns of it just being up and boosting its special defenses. Lapras, of course, revealing that it is not an Assault Vest set, so it will not be as bulky as, say, it possibly could be. Really, right now, I mean, Ferrothorn saw that the overheat was going there. Definitely going to switch out, as we see right now.
Yep, there it is. The switch into Nidoqueen might be able to eat that up. It's going to also...
It is not an Assault Vest set, so it will not be as bulky as, say, it possibly could be. Really, right now, I mean, Ferrothorn saw that the overheat was going there. Definitely going to switch out, as we see right now. Yep,
there it is. The switch into Nidoqueen might be able to eat that up. It's going to also... It's going to also lower the special attack of Manectric there. All right, the overheat is real. Takes it down into the yellow. There it goes. The special attack is now lowered. And Florges using Psychic, doubling up into that slot. That could be it for Nidoqueen. Oh my gosh, that was an important Pokemon to keep on the field here, Dwee.
Right, definitely.
All right, Lapras substituting, though. Interesting, and we did see the Protect as well. Like you said, no Assault Vest on that Lapras. For those of you that don't know, if you carry the Assault Vest item, you cannot Protect.
Right, you cannot have any non-damaging moves. As we see, Lapras is actually going to be out on the field for a pretty good amount of time with the substitute and leftovers as Fanrotom decides to come in. But huge knockout from Ben's side to double up on that slot. Didn't want to mess around at all. Overheat, you know, if it hits the Ferrothorn, cool, it's going to hit the Ferrothorn, but picked up the switch, which is really important.
The chants are starting for Fanrotom. Is going crazy. All right, we do see the switch on for Ben there on that Manectric slot. And bringing in the Ferrothorn again. There it is. And Rotom using Air Slash. Oh my god, the light screen, so real. Moonblast from Florges, doubling up on the Fanrotom there. Down into the yellow, but it's going to get that life back from the Citrus Berry that we saw last game. And there it is. And Lapras going Hydro Pump. Oh, how unfortunate into the Frothorn that's really going to be able to take that.
Right, and that light screen definitely paying off against these two special attackers. We see Lapras again with the leftovers, going to heal back. And, I mean, it seems like Ben's pretty content on not worrying about that Lapras. Ben obviously has pretty good options to face off against that Lapras. He has that Ferrothorn. He has that Manectric, and Garchomp, if he has it in back, he can possibly Rock Slide into that Ice-type Lapras as well.
All right, it looks like Michael shaking his head there, going with the Will-O-Wisp into I believe, the Frothorn there that was protected. The substitute fades from the Moonblast. And the Hydro Pump again, this time into the Florges slot. Won't do too much damage. Both of these incredibly bulky Pokemon. And the Power Whip going to hit back after the substitute fades. Lapras into the red, but getting a little bit of life back from the leftovers there.
Yeah, an interesting decision for Michael to fire off that Will-O-Wisp, possibly seeing a switch in, possibly, on either side, really. If Florges decided to switch out, you know, he could easily get the Will-O-Wisp onto Ferrothorn. If Ferrothorn decided to switch out, it probably would have hit another Pokemon and probably burned it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it doesn't do anything that turn. And we see the Protect from the Fan Rotom. Lapras protecting as well. Maybe just trying to get an idea of what his opponent's going to do so he can maybe make a switch here. And the Power Whip, of course, going into Protect there. So Lapras getting a little bit of health back from the leftovers. Will it be enough to substitute? I think it might be very, very close.
And we see the light screen wear off, which is actually really good news for Michael if he wants to try to pick up momentum to try to take back this game, really, because that Lapras and that Fan Rotom are going to want to fire off special type attacks onto Ferrothorn, possibly pick up the knockout, or do a good amount of damage to Florges before it can set up another light screen.
Okay, there it is. The Lapras is withdrawn for Michael here, sending in his Frothorn again. And the Air Slash from Rotom into Frothorn, doing a decent amount of damage now that that light screen is gone. And the Moonblast right there into Frothorn. Not too much damage, but very, very bulky sets from both. Oh, Frothorn avoids the attack.
That's actually a really unfortunate avoid for Michael, actually, because he read that perfectly. He switched in the Ferrothorn into the Lapras slot and wanted to get hit with an Iron Barbs, but unfortunately the miss actually helps Ben.
Yeah, you're right. That was that was much better for Ben. If it had hit, he would have taken some damage from most likely that the Iron Barbs and potential Rocky Helmet there. All right, we do see the switch on Frothorn. Okay, Manectric coming in to Intimidate. There it is, dropping both of those Pokemon's attack by one stage. Rotom using Air Slash again into the Manectric slot. Oh my gosh, really eating it up as Manectric. And the Moonblast from Florges. Oh, into Rotom, which does decent damage, takes it into the yellow, and also lowering its special attack now. That's brutal. And Florges avoids the attack on that Power Whip. How unfortunate.
Right, and Ben just showing off exactly why he is a two-time UK national champion. Read that Air Slash perfectly, switching that Manectric who resisted that Air Slash. So props to Ben for reading that. And Michael really right now, I mean, he needs to figure out a way to pick up some quick knockouts. This Manectric right now, problematic for Ferrothorn and Fan Rotom. Florges, of course, can easily just set up another light screen, really. And interesting to note, though, that Michael did not choose to bring a Mega this game.
I did notice that. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. All right, Rotom protecting there. And Frothorn protecting as well, not taking any damage this turn. Manectric really being a threat to both of these Pokemon. The Volt Switch doesn't end up doing anything there because of the protects, and we get Garchomp onto the field for free.
Right, what Michael really wanted to do there was scout to see where Manectric was going to target, and unfortunately, I think that Ben is such a experienced player that he actually will be able to read what Michael's going to do as he just easily picks up the knockout in Ferrothorn.
Exactly, yeah, the huge overheat, dropping that Frothorn. And Manectric's special attack falls, but won't be too critical at this point after picking up that huge feint on Frothorn. Now the Rock Slide from Garchomp as well. Going to do a ton of damage to that Flying-type Rotom, and there it is, super effective. It feints, and Rotom, oh, it's going back to its trainer there, Michael.
Fan Rotom, of course, you know, the fan favorite right now. So having it knocked out is really unfortunate for the crowd, and right now, Michael on his last leg.
Yeah, it looks like we do see the Lapras come back in here, but looks like both Pokemon should be able to outspeed, and I think we'll pick up the feint there. Volt Switch from Manectric might even be able to do the job by itself. There it is, and Lapras feints. It's going to go back to Michael there. Ben picking up the win in this 2 out of 3, takes it 2-1.
So Ben, of course, two-time UK national champion, defeating Michael, second place Australian nationals. Really, you know, the experienced player facing off against the more unexperienced player, you know, just showing, you know, he is still here to play. And as Ben moves on to 3-1, that improves his chances of making it to the top cut. Michael, of course, still going to have a shot at top cut if he continues to win, and his tiebreaker is actually really strong enough for it.
Oh, yeah, they're going wild. You guys like that Fan Rotom? Let's hear it for Fan Rotom, baby! Woo! Rotom fan.
Yeah. I mean, Michael and Ben, they both played an amazing set. Both of them